Okay, so today I'm going to show you how to take an ordinary picture like this and make it a little bit more interesting by changing the color tones. And I'm going to show you how to make the color tones a little retro or vintage-ish, I guess. So the first thing you're going to want to do is get your picture. I think this picture works well because there's a nice sky, and when I make the sky retro, it looks very good. And the overall mood of the photo kind of works with the color tones that I will be making. So the first thing you want to do is choose adjustment layers and go to curves. Click that. So now you're going to make an RGB curve. First you want to go to the red curve, and in the highlights, which is this area, you're going to want to click the curve and drag it a little bit up. Then in the shadows, which is this area, you want to click and drag it a little bit down. Now go to the channel, green channel, do the same thing. Good. Now the blue channel, you're going to do the opposite. You're going to take away blue in the highlights and add some blue in the shadows. Okay. So there's the original, here's the now. So now you can do some tweaking depending on how you want your photo to look. I want the sky to be a little greener, so I'm going to eyedropper tool on the sky to the middle, so I can click there, make it a little greener. Nah, I don't really like that, so I'll put it back to blue. Go back to the blue channel. Just maybe take some blue away from the sky. Yeah, that's good. And the fence is a little too blue, so I can take that down a notch so that way the road also looks normal. Okay. And let's see. Okay. So I think that's a pretty good change. So original, new, original, new. So as you can see, press OK, and as you can see, there's a pretty significant difference, and the new color tones really change the whole mood of the photo. So if there are any parts of it you don't like, you can click the layer mask, choose a black soft brush, make it any size, and opacity anywhere from 100 to 0, just choose an opacity, and you can brush away the parts that you don't like. So here, let's make it a stronger opacity so you can see the difference. Say I don't like his face, you can brush that away to make it normal again. Let's get rid of that, because I do like his face. So that's if there's any specific parts of your photo that you didn't want to change. But I think mine's pretty good, so I don't need to change anything. Now, I might up the contrast a little bit. Maybe go to the brightness contrast adjustment layer. Make it a little more contrasty. Same, a little bit, a tiny bit more bright. Maybe even not that much more. Okay. It's a pretty good difference. A little bit more contrast. And then you can also add a gradient map. And so if you go to adjustment layers, gradient map, the one I like to use is just a purple to orange because it also brings out the color tones that we made with the curves layer, but in a different way. So if you set this to soft light and then lower the opacity, let's say to 37%, you can see it gets a little, everything gets a little more purple and just darker in general. But this is a little too dark, so I'm going to click on the layer mask and a little bit less opacity and brush away some of this because it's a little too dark. Get some detail on the trees, brush away some of that darkness, maybe in his face and his jeans, so that way nothing's too dark, because that's not good. Okay, so let's go over what we done. We started off with an original photo, good concept, but the color tones just didn't fit the mood. Made it a little retro, a little vintage by adding a curves layer. This was the majority of the difference. As you can see, there's a big difference. It's in contrast, in color, saturation, really it's everything. Then added a little bit more contrast with the brightness contrast layer. And then used a purple to orange gradient map, not gradient, but gradient map, to bring everything a little bit darker and make it a little oranger in the highlights, purple in the shadows. And we are done. So I hope you learned something from this tutorial. Hopefully you'll be able to make some of your pictures and make some of your pictures a little better with more interesting color tones. And if you're into the retro style, you will be able to do that also. And for the written version of this guide, check out my photo blog at hotrocksphoto.blogspot.com. Here it is. And you can go down to the first tips and techniques. And here is the guide. I made this a little old. This guide is a little older, but it still is a written version, just in case you're a little confused with pictures. So, I hope you enjoyed this and learned something from it. If you have any questions, you can email me at mcgold@verizon.net or comment on my blog. Thanks. Or here. Thanks.